Okay, item 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order for our South Whitley Community Public Library Board of Trustees meeting Thursday, August 13, 2026. Okay, first order is to review our meeting minutes from our,
We have to do the public first.
we have to, up here, okay.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
All right, South Whitley Community Board of Trustees public hearing on 2027 budget. We'll call the meeting to order. And do we have any new business?
Yes, so we can go over some of the budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So first thing, figure to talk about some of the paperwork that I have given you in your packets. That's that first step there. That is also available on the table for everybody in the audience. So that first page, you all have seen that before. That's kind of a historical look at the tax rates. You can kind of see that we are closer to the historic lower end of what we do. The second page, you can see the difference between the adopted tax rates and the actual tax rates. And that's because of how we plug in the numbers with the certified assessed value. The DLGF suggests always putting that a little bit lower. So that does mean the tax rates that we adopt are usually higher than what is actually is. And there's an average of about 3%. The third page, property tax rates per $1 million land valuation. So you can see kind of what that bears out in reality with that $1 million valuation on a property. It comes out to, like for 2026, it comes out to $1,556. And then the fourth page is the comparison to the only other library that I was able to find that's near our size in the state of Indiana, with a population between 4,000 and 6,000. That's the Thorntown Public Library. So that's what I have for that. And then I have for the board the proposed budget of what we're looking at. You can see in the actual operating budget, there's only a 1% increase in the operating. The rest of the increase is in appropriation from the rainy day budget, which that is money that we already have saved. So we're just basically getting permission to be able to use more of that savings. The majority of that increase is in our salary of assistants to be able to provide a raise for staff next year. Also on this paper, you can see that our maximum levy is $624,766. We are looking at taking for next year $565,794, which is the same levy that we had for this year. So we are looking at a 0% increase in our levy. This is the tax, the notice that we had sent out to taxpayers, and that has on here the dates, the civil max levy. That's that 624,766. We are looking at a credit, property tax cap credit of $37,200. So that's kind of the estimate of what we would not receive with that 600. But then further down, we see rainy day. We are appropriating 13,000 out of that. This year we are appropriating 20,000. So that's an 18,000 increase. At the general fund, we are looking at an operating budget of $880,000. presentation. This is just some information on how some of that stuff is figured. Let's just actually start the slideshow. So the 2027 budget information. So the certified assessed valuation and tax rates. The Department of Local Government Finance and the Indiana Library Federation Budget Task Force recommend that we estimate a certified assessed valuation at 85% when figuring the tax rates in order to ensure funding. That formula is the CAV over 100 multiplied by the tax rate, and that is what the property tax levy. So from the 2026 budget order, the CAV was 363, 627.93. We do not have the 2027 yet. So 85% of that is 309,077,674. And then the property tax levy, I put the max there, and then what we are actually looking at taking. So that calculation comes to an advertised rate of 0.1831. Looking at closer what it'll actually be, putting in the certified assessed valuation for what it actually is this year, and the property tax levy for next year, what we're looking at a 2027 tax rate of closer to 0.1556. Until that new assessed valuation is released, we can't really do that calculation any better. With the assumption that assessed valuations went up, our tax rate will come down. And then there's also some of that historical difference as well between the adopted and the actual rates. Looking at how we're funded, we're primarily funded through property tax. The second largest source of our income is local income tax. This year we're getting about $377,000. That with the changes for SCA 1 is now a function of the county council, and it is unclear what their decision will be for providing lit to the libraries in the county. Even if we are funded at the max allowable in the current statute, it will be significantly lower by about $250,000. Our other sources of funding are significantly lower. We are looking at opening the account with Trustees that we discussed last time. The rates for that investment account have been under 4% for the whole of 2026, but it is better than what we are getting on our bank accounts. And then there's just a list of different sources of funding there. Some of the legislative changes that we've been looking at, there's been rather significant changes over the last couple of years. Details of those changes are still likely to change, so we're making plans the best we can with what's currently in legislation. We don't know what to actually expect, and many institutions are in a similar boat. Raising the budget by half. One of the changes that was made in 2026, libraries can no longer raise their budgets by half or more of the maximum levy growth quotient without going to binding review in county council, and there is no guardrail on what they can do with your budget in that binding review. They can theoretically zero it out. I'm not saying that anybody would, but it is a theoretical possibility within legislation. There was also the change of rolling budgets over from 1 year to the next, leads to it's either 49% or a 51% decrease in your budget. So that is not something that anyone is looking at doing. The local income tax may disappear for 2029. I believe that the library funding for lit must be adopted every 4 years by the county council. They were saying something different at the must meeting last night, so I wanted to look into that a little bit more. The max lit rate for libraries in current legislation is 0.05%, and would be distributed between the library systems on a per capita basis. And not every township is covered by a library district, so this would be a tax on people who do not have access to libraries, which is part of the reason why I'm not sure what the county council will do with that. Property tax levies will freeze around 2030, and that will only be able to be adjusted by the county council. And as we all know, it's been very difficult to try to make long-term plans for everything when we're looking at potentially losing 30 to 40% of our operating revenue, because that is what it is. Addressing some of the concerns that we have heard over the last couple of years, that our property taxes are too high. As of right now, we are working on trying to maintain the necessary funding post-SCA 1 implementation. As I've said a few different times, we're not looking at next year right now. We're also trying to look at 5 years from now, 10 years from now, trying to make sure that everybody, whether we can still operate at the level that people expect us to operate. We've heard we have too many staff. I would actually say we're properly staffed. We have 7 full-time staff members, including myself. We're all always have something that we should be working on. We have those are specialized positions, bookkeeper and, I don't know his title, but Larry, user type guy. And then the other part-time staff, they all get hours every week, but there is enough flexibility in that if there's the need to cover something, we have room, which I think we're in a really good position with how many staff we have. Spend too much on payroll. Nonprofit and government jobs generally spend between 50% and 70% of their total budgets on payroll. We're kind of in the middle of that. Our 2027 budget has that at 58.9%. Resident fees is set too high. That fee is set per the state based on population and expenditures. Just for the simple fact that we do have a larger library per capita, our fee is higher. Looking at kind of the math, if Peabody was the size per capita of our library for their population, they would be about twice the size of what they are currently. Overall expenditures are not in line with statewide averages. We're an above average library, which means we do have expenditures that are above that average. Like I said, there's only one library that I've been able to find that is a similar size within our population range. We've accumulated too much money. We do recognize that there is a fair bit of money in our bank account, so we've been trying to make plans on how to get that to a more appropriate range. Right now, we're looking at using those to potentially operate at a little bit of a deficit post-SEA1 implementation. That's kind of looking at a long-range plan on how to resolve those issues. We're not using that money to make more money. We are opening a trust Indiana account to invest those funds. Return on investment for library use. In 2025, we did provide 130% return on investment to the community by revenue and 180% return on investment by our expenditures. And that's calculated by, there are library value calculators through the American Library Association. The most recent one that they suggested was based off of 2019 numbers. So we plug in our usage information, meeting rooms, checkouts, program attendance, all of those sorts of things. It gives us a number, and then I ran it through an inflation calculator to come to that. Where money is held, it's in Crossroads Bank. That is the only option for banking for the state, since we only have one financial institution in our district. That we do have secret meetings. This may reference the committee meetings that we have. These meetings are allowed by the state as quorum is not present. If decisions are being made, a quorum must be present, and it must be a public meeting, and it always is. And we always talk about our committee meeting discussions within our public meetings, that we're not advertising properly. All meetings are advertised per state requirements, and we have started advertising those on the digital sign. That we have too many programs that are not well attended. We do have many programs. Most are fairly well attended. We regularly review our programming to determine what is working, what's not, and we make the changes that we can forward. That we do have a corrupt public comment policy. All of our speakers agree to our policy before making comment, and this policy is acceptable to state statute. The open door law actually does not require most institutions to have a public comment period, but we have chosen to. And we have corrupt board appointments. We suggest board members to our appointing bodies, and that's mainly because we were able to find someone who's actually willing to serve, which is generally a difficult thing to do. But these appointing bodies hold full authority over who they appoint. And that is all I have there. And then this is, since it's the public hearing, it's more just an informational thing. We don't necessarily have to have a vote, but we can have discussion. Is everybody comfortable with where the budget is?
Something that, I don't know if you talked about providing library cards to Whitco students.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit. I'm not sure if they have to be in our township, they just have to be in
They just have to be in
Whitco.
the district.
They have to be,
They have to be within the Whitco district and we can provide the cards for state statute.
and they can be in Kosciuszko County.
Yes.
So we provide a free card, right?
Yes.
To all Whitco students.
Yes.
And teachers?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Anyone want to discuss it?
Comments, concerns on the budget? Because I can make changes to it between now and
Monty, do you want to have your comment? I want to check this out, what you're filled out here. So, are you representing, it says here Richland Township Board. Are you representing yourself as the board member, or are you representing the board?
Board, myself.
So this is an official statement from the board, essentially.
I can't hear you.
So this is an official statement from the board?
They know I'm going to be here. Is it an official statement? I would say it's official.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
I
just
didn't
what we wanted to
tell them exactly what I was going to say,
Okay.
so to speak, so,
Yeah, we just wanted to clarify that.
but they know I'm coming here.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a 5-minute timer on
Yes.
this?
And then I will start the timer here for sure.
Am I supposed to speak in there or what?
Yes, it just helps the camera pick it up.
Okay, let's just start with a piece of paper that I had to fill out. Down there at the bottom it says phone number and email address. I filled one of these out 2 years ago, and I never got a phone call. You know that I'm somewhat displeased with the way the library's managed. So I'm surprised not one of you board members, and I don't know which one of you represent me from Richland, but I would feel like if you're a board member, it's your responsibility to at least contact me, ask me what my problem is, or what maybe we could do to make this a little better. So I want to start with the numbers. Basically, I'm just going to talk about numbers. I'm not here to complain. I'm talking about numbers. It's pretty common sense. Fiscal 2025, you accumulated $287,000 extra dollars. You didn't use it. Piled it onto your cash pile. Last 4 years, you accumulated almost 70,000. Why? 970. I haven't seen anywhere where you're going to add on or anything or buy any houses. So my question is, why do you need all that money? Why? And not only why, how much is enough? When I was here 2 years ago and spoke to you, it was $500,000 less. $500,000 less. Now we're $500,000 more. If I come back in 2 more years, it's going to be another $500,000 more. My question is to you people on this board, where's your limit at? How high do you have to have cash on hand? And then, here, cash on hand. What are you doing with that cash on hand? You have it at Crossroads Bank. Somebody here, I was told, works at Crossroads Bank. Is that not true? And I've been told that you're earning virtually nothing. I don't understand that. That's dereliction of duty for you board. You're not even keeping up with inflation. Inflation is 3+%. You ought to at least be getting 3% on your money. And guess what? This week, I went in and bought a CD from Crossroads. 3.9%. How many CDs do you guys have? 0? If I'm wrong, tell me. What kind of a operation do you run with all that cash earning nothing? And now you're talking about it. I am glad to see maybe you're talking about it, but we talked about this 2 years ago. Nothing's been done. When you go uptown to buy gas, if there was 2 gas stations, you buy the one that's $4 or $3. Which one are you going to buy the $4 gas? None of you. It's economics. It's economics. I'm not here to complain that the library shouldn't be here. I'm complaining because you guys don't manage taxpayers' money properly. And you know it. $2.5 million you're going to have on these books by the end of the year. $2.5 million. That's 3 years worth of money that you wouldn't have to take $1 in and you could still survive. That's pretty bad. still can't believe you got a person here that works at Crossroads Bank and you're earning virtually nothing. To me, that's corruption. That's total corruption. There is no sense for that. I see my time's about up, but I see you got quite a few people here making $50,000 a year. I find that outrageous. It's kind of funny, you guys that are not going to increase your budget. I think you're starting to wake up and realize you're taking in way more money than you need. And I will tell you, some of you know this, I was on this library board. I know exactly how it operates. We had too much money coming in when I was on the board. And you know what we did? We cut the levy. We cut it. We helped give the money back. If you take in too much, the right thing to do is to give the money back. I would just like to see somebody have some sense to give back. We're getting you a lot, so it's time to give back.
All right, that's 5 minutes. All right, that should be the public comment for a meeting. All right, we'll call adjournment for the 2027 budget public hearing. And now we can move on down to our regular board meeting, where we can look at our approval of minutes. Anyone have any additions or corrections for our July 9th board meeting? If not, do I hear a motion to accept our board meetings from July 9th, 2026?
I move we accept as written.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept our board meeting minutes from July 9th, 2026. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Chris, we'll go on to our treasurer's report.
First page you see there should be the financial report. Start of the year, they're 1.8 million, and it's just about 100,000 after the tax came in, and then all the disbursements out throughout the first half of the year. So 1.9 million. Gift funds sitting right where it had been this past or the same time last year. Rainy days got the transfer of the excess funds from last year's operating in there, sitting at 412,000. Grand total with the rest of them there just being clearing accounts 2.3 compared to the same time last year 2.1. Appropriation reports, the next 2 pages there, those are the individual appropriations within each account there. I want to see all accounts with that percent remaining over on the right side be above 41.7%. Personnel services, all of them are in line there, so we're 5% above budget where we need to be. Supplies in line as well. I can't read my own writing, 19.1%. Other services and charges, that's the one that's here the last few months have had some accounts under budget there with the gas, water, electric, things like that, buildings and structures repaired. We did have Cook's Carpet come and clean the carpets Grand total though, 12% above budget there. And capital outlays, for all the books, periodicals, newspapers, movies, sits there at 25% above budget. Grand total 9.2 for the year.
Any questions on our treasurer's report? Okay, now have a motion to accept our treasurer's report as presented. We have a motion, Joe, and a second, Chris, okay. All, what's that? Matt, sorry. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. We can go, we can circulate claims, right, and Cody for our director's report.
Yes. So starting with programs and collections, the showing of Net 1 was canceled for July due to no attendance. The next movie is going to be the original Top Gun on August 28th. We've had decent attendance numbers at our movies in the past. It's kind of dropped off this year. I'm thinking that because we're having to play some older movies, because the movies last year just weren't that great, that some of the attendance has dropped off. I wanted to continue it next year because we've had some really good movies come out this year. So I think we can build that back up. But if it does not, then we're going to look at re-examining. Fortunately, this is a really low-cost program. It really only costs us some popcorn and some water, since the movies are out of our collection, and we show movies elsewhere, so we're already going to pay for the licensing. We had 25 attendees for the classical guitarist on July 14th. We had to adjust some of the schedules for Kyle Egoff, his program due to some weather. The programs that have been on so far have seen 5 and 9 attendees. Those programs were capped at 10 participants. The Indiana Caves program had 22 attendees. The All Gone Blue concert had 81 attendees. This likely would have been more if the weather would have been a bit nicer. It was raining off and on all day. We did end up holding it outside, but it was real close on us having to hold it inside. Homesteading program with the Baileys? Okay. Had 10 attendees. Brian Bailey also asked about coming back in spring to speak about beekeeping. He's working on getting a grant to try to bring more hives into the area. That's pretty good. August 18th, we'll be having a paint party in honor of the 25th anniversary of Legally Blonde. I think they're going to wear pink and eat pink cookies and watch Legally Blonde. Mickey is very excited about this. I will not be wearing pink. I own no pink. August 29th is the second annual salsa competition. We are working with the Fall Festival Committee to determine how we can assist with location for some of their events. As in past years, we're going to be hosting the Cutie King and Queen contest in here, and then also some other things as well. Staff and Library Development. Staff Development Day will be on August 21st. This will include AED training and CPR training from the Varsity Police Gardner and Health Department. Additionally, we'll be having 2 sessions of training by Paul Newton from the Indiana State Library. We have signed up staff for the ILF Annual Conference in November. If any board member is interested in attending, please let me know. Outreach and community involvement. We had a booth at the Whitley County Resource Fair on August 1st. We are estimating that about 400 people were interacted with. Jen Engel was able to attend a teacher breakfast and promote the library. She also connected with teachers from the middle school and is in the initial stages of starting a middle school book club like she has with high school. Jen has also had some communications with After School Central in town. They are no longer going to be doing their after school program on Thursdays. We are going to move our weekly team program to Thursday nights. Jen also reached out by nights, I mean like right after school. Jen also reached out to the School of Bell Transportation. The shuttle bus is going to be picking kids up from the library like they do with After School Central after that program. We're hoping this can greatly increase our teen involvement in the library, which is something we've been working towards for several years. Building and maintenance. Security camera was malfunctioning and it has been repaired. The sink in the cafe was gurgling very badly when the upstairs toilets were being flushed. This has been looked at and resolved. There was a significant clog in the sink and air may have been getting into the pipes. One of the sump pumps downstairs in the basement was constantly running. It's backed off in the corner, so that's why we didn't hear it constantly running sadly. But that was potentially getting air into the pipes. Mike Balzer is working on both of those. He showed me the sunspot. He's estimating it's about 20 Place Comics Plus. The potential return on this is pretty good. The cost is really good at about $1,000 a year, and there's no limits on checkouts or waiting periods, and they have a decent-sized amount of both comics and manga. This is something that we can definitely push, especially for those teams, because they really want to read comics and manga most of the time. So on the E-rate stuff, normally that's come out in July. So for the July meeting, I kind of jumped down on the resolution. I sent a question to the Indiana State Library about the other paperwork, because that normally gets sent out. Apparently they were in negotiations with AdTech, which is the company that they use to file the E-rate stuff. And so they have now sent out the materials, and we can get that taken care of today. So there's just a new resolution for that in the business. Financial, the SBLA released the June bulletin. The hope that it would have something about the gift fund changes from March was for naught. There was nothing very significant for us at this time in the bulletin. The SBOA said they would release the answers to the questions raised in May at a later publication. So they also said it would come out in the June bulletin. That was released in August. So we'll see when we actually get those answers. The Whitley County Must was able to vote to submit their report on August 12th. That report they're submitting is in reference to the change to lit coming due to SEA 1. The report they submitted in part was to show that current legislation would be difficult to implement. One bright side is that they submitted it with libraries receiving twice the current legislated maximum. We would still be losing some lit funding under that paradigm, but if by happenstance they were able to get that through, we may be able to actually look at cutting those property taxes. Because as I said, we are looking at using $250,000 in funding from lit at the current max rate in the legislation. So we're going to have to take it year to year to see what we can do. We are working on getting the Trust Indiana account up and running. We can discuss the potential amount of transfer at a later date. That's my report.
Any questions on that? We'll go on to the next one. Old business, our gift donation policy.
So I had brought this policy to you in the past. So there's two versions of it. There is the one that I brought to you in the past that has the $20,000 limit on there. The second version is the one that we had talked about, lowering that amount to $5,000. That anything over that amount has to have board approval. Anything under that amount, I can just accept that donation on behalf of the library without your approval. Well, this would give me the approval to do so, not without the approval. So if you want to look over the new ones, see if there was any questions or concerns that you had about that. We had talked about putting that off until we had more answers from the SBOA, but I don't know when we're going to get those answers, and I think we need to make movements towards getting that in place.
And the only change in there is lowering it from 20,000 to 5,000.
I changed some wording, nothing terribly substantial. Like you can see in the restricted monetary gifts, I put a use, like is in the unrestricted monetary gifts, just for that, and then I put in what the actual funds would be named. Then there was just a couple of wording changes just to make it a little bit more, because I didn't get this from outside sources as an example to put this together.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept our revised South Whitley Community Public Library gift policy. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Our new E-ring. So we have the gifts on a resolution.
So part of the changes from the SBOA's, they want to see us have an unrestricted gift fund and a restricted gift fund. So that is, if somebody gives us money for a specific purpose, then that would go into the restricted gift fund if it is restricted for that purpose. Unrestricted gifts cannot be spent without appropriation, thus the $4,500 onto our budget. Restricted gifts can be spent for that purpose without appropriation. So this is just a resolution to open a fund named restricted gift fund.
And that would be under category 2, correct, on the financial report?
Yes. So then we just need to do a verbal vote and sign the resolution with the vote sheet.
Okay, we'll call for the vote for all in favor of the gift fund resolution. Say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, accept that. Okay, and our new resolution.
So this is basically the same resolution that got voted on last week or last month. It just basically has the updated date. It says we're going to be a part of the state consortium. That helps us save a fair bit of money on our internet expenses. While I've been here, it's between 70 and 80% of our internet expenses have been covered through E-rate. So it's significant amount. So, and then that's the same thing, verbal vote, write down your vote.
Yeah, call for a vote that we accept the new E-rate resolution. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? Okay, we'll send that around. All right. Anyone have any new business? Okay, or miscellaneous? Public comment? Okay. All right. You've already made your comment, haven't you, Monty? Okay?
I guess I'd only get one time.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have anything? Okay. So we'll call the meeting adjourned here